separate two liquids based on their boiling points. This simulation uses voiceovers. If you don't have audio, click the speaker symbol on the top right of your lab pad to switch the play mode. If you disable the sound effects, the lab pad will slide up whenever there are instructions to read. You can select what type of audio you prefer, such as music, sound effect, voice, and screen reader in accessibility mode. Deselecting any of the options will mute that option. Click Continue to learn how to navigate through your... Using the lab pad is an important way. Perfect, then let's get started with your first... If you had a look around, you might have noticed that we are on the first... The colony on Mars uses fats found in algae to produce biodiesel. In the production of biodiesel, a mixture of water, glycerol, and methanol waste products is formed. Your first mission is to determine if it is possible to separate water and glycerol by using the technique of simple distillation. Your second mission is to run the same experiment with a methanol and water mixture to see if these two liquids can be separated by simple distillation. Pick up a lab coat to wear it. Pick up the safety glasses. Now click on the table to your right to get closer. Well done. Now find gloves and click on them to wear gloves. Now, let's set up the distillation. Install the heating mantle. Hover over the objects and click on Install the round bottom flask. What is the mole % of water in the solution that you are distilling? Remember, the solution in the That's right. You Install an empty flask on the distillation apparatus to collect the distillate. Now add a thermometer to measure the temperature. How far should you insert the thermometer into the distillation head? Correct. You are measuring Click on the hose where the cooling water should flow in. Great. You always want the water to flow into the bottom of the condenser. Well done. You have Click on the heating mantle to start the distillation. Wait for the heating mantle to heat up. Great. The first drop just dripped into the collection flask. I have turned off the heating. Pick up the flask with the first drop. Put the flask with the first drop. Install an empty flask on the distillation apparatus to collect the... Observe the temperature versus volume plot. It illustrates the temperature of the vapor as distillate is collected. Take the second sample and place it on a cork stand. Install an empty flask on the distillation apparatus to collect the next sample. Observe the temperature versus volume plot. It illustrates the temperature of the vapor as distillate is collected. Take the third sample and place it on a cork stand. Congratulations! You have completed the simple distillation of the water glycerol solution. Now, you have to interpret the data that you click on the water glycerol boiling point composition curve. Looking at the boiling point composition curve, at what temperature do you think your solution will start to boil? Yes, the temperature the solution will start to boil is 110 degrees Celsius. This is a little above the... You collected the first drop from the glycerol water distillation in a collection flask. Look at the boiling point composition curve. What mole % water should be in the first drop collected? That's right. The vapor can... When you collect distillate in the collection flask, what happens to the original mole % of water in the distillation flask? Correct. The mole %. When you collected 50 milliliter of distillate in the collection flask, the mole % of water in the distillation flask decreased to approximately 20 mole %. With your simple distillation setup, what percentage of water will be in the vapor phase at this composition of the liquid? Read the theory page if you don't remember how to interpret the boiling point composition curve. That's right. The mole %. Have a look at the data that you collected. Click on the temperature versus volume plot where you think water is being distilled from the mixture. Well done. When a compound boils, the temperature remains constant. Click on the temperature versus volume plot where you think glycerol is being distilled from the mixture. You got this. Glycerol has a higher boiling point than water, therefore the place where glycerol is being removed is the highest temperature. Where should you ideally change collection flasks? Brilliant! You want to change collection flasks during the transition between the two. Congratulations! If your mixture has 3 moles of methanol and 2 moles of water, what is the mole % of methanol in the solution? That's right. When you perform an experiment, you often want to start by making a hypothesis. Let's find out if your hypothesis is correct. Place the methanol water solution onto the distillation head to start the simple distillation. Observe the temperature versus volume plot. It illustrates the temperature of the vapor as distillate is collected. How does it differ from the glycerol water temperature versus volume plot that you observed during your first experiment? Correct. The methanol and water. Your hypothesis was not correct. Simple distillation does not effectively separate. Click on the screen to take a look at the methanol water boil. At what temperature do you expect the 60 mole % methanol in water mixture to boil? That's right. If you were performing this same distillation at a higher elevation, for example, at 300 meters above sea level, how do you think the initial boiling point of the mixture in the distillation flask would change? Yes, if you collected the first drop from the distillation, what would be the mole % methanol in that drop? Remember, your original distillation flask contains 60 mole % methanol. That's right. If the mole % of methanol in the liquid phase in the distillation flask drops to 30%, what would be the mole % of methanol collected in the collection flask? Correct. As the mole... Congratulations. You have successfully completed your mission. Let me ask you one last question. Thank you for your feedback. Your score has been saved together with your 100% progress. Congratulations, you have completed the simulation. We hope you enjoyed it and you feel wiser now.